So we took patients who were visually impaired, legally blind, and we restored them on average to 20/20 capability, 20/20 acuity. Hey, there's 300 million folks who are vision impaired now. There's 500 million within about 20 years. Myopia is a pandemic almost, and it's completely unserved. So we said, okay, well then we'll pre-sell these glasses. We'll charge $2,900 and we'll see if there are any takers. So last week we sold 40. So individuals who couldn't see them, couldn't try them, we sold 40. So to pre-sell something a year before it's available just tells us the level of need and what patients are willing to do to get in line. We better get going on this. There's going to be a lot of patients we're going to help. If we can pick up 40 without advertising, we can probably pick up 100. If we can pick up 100, we can probably get 1,000.
Welcome to the Doctors Investor Club podcast, where physicians and dentists come together to elevate their mindset, build their assets, and create a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Dr. Kyle Stevenson. After years in the OR, I've realized wealth is not just about high income. It's about ownership, freedom, and using your money with purpose. Here at the Doctors Investor Club, we share the strategies the wealthy already know: owning a business, real estate investing, becoming your own banker, and intentional investing. Each week, we sit down with entrepreneurs, investors, and physicians who've stepped off the hamster wheel and are building wealth that outlives them. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and the impact you leave behind. Let's get into today's episode.
All right, welcome back to the Doctors Investor Club podcast. Today's guest is someone working at the intersection of technology, medicine, and real human impact. Steve Willey is an entrepreneur, operator, and founder of Innovega, a US-based company developing AI-powered wearable assistive vision technology for people living with moderate to severe central vision loss. Steve's work is focused on restoring functional sight, helping patients read, recognize faces, and navigate daily life, not through surgery or pharmaceuticals, but by optimizing a patient's remaining vision through advanced wearable systems. He and his team work closely with clinicians and vision scientists to ensure this technology is developed with the medical community. Steve, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Kyle. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited to hear about you and your story, and as well as your company. So, just to get us started, tell us about you. What got you into entrepreneurship, starting companies, and what got you into Innovega specifically?
Yeah, I've got a technical background, and at some level, I suppose I've never had a proper job. I always dreamt of working at IBM or Microsoft, but never worked out. I came out of school. I got a master's degree in computer science, master's degree in double E, an MBA. I got bench training to go get a proper job and be constructive. But it's a funny story. I tried to get a proper job, and I actually dialed the wrong number, and I ended up with a startup. And there were like 2 or 3 of us, and I said, "Well, where's the rest of us?" And there wasn't the rest of us. So I got the bug, and this is like my perhaps 7th company I've started and grown and exited from. And this one is by far the most exciting. The timing is just beautiful. And what we do is, and I bring teams together, and they're all pretty capable, but it falls into that category of deep tech. And that's become fairly fashionable now because AI is commoditizing to a large extent. So what we do, we sort of sit around, we go for lunch, at a good Thai restaurant, and we say, so what are we going to do next? And we look out 5 to 10 years and we say, what could we do that would have like impact, would really create new opportunities, new markets for the ecosystem? But we could play this pivotal role because of some technology that's not available and just seems really hard. So if we put our minds to it, because we're pretty broad in terms of tech and even clinical work, we could probably solve it. And that's what we did with Innovega. And so with Innovega, we said, we've all got a smartphone. Some of us have got a smartwatch. Clearly, the quality of media is advancing, 2D to 3D, HD to 4K. And it's going to outstrip the capability of those devices. And so glasses, 80% of us own a pair of glasses. 80% of our perception is visual. So isn't it obvious? And this was, before the days of VR, those early days when people were wearing kind of headsets and it was all experimental. we said, if you had a normal pair of glasses, and these were incredibly powerful glasses because they were connected, to the cloud and such. And we thought about the glasses as just like this platform, just put them on, and it delivers tech, it delivers intelligence, it delivers capability. And in order to do that, we recognized we'd have to solve some problems. So as a team, we came together, we filed 80 patents. That's a lot. 8 patents is a lot. 80 patents is insane. And we sort of covered different ways of developing and then leveraging normal glasses, normal lightweight, comfortable glasses that had this uncommon, very high performance capability. So that took us some time. And in those early days, we said, we went to the VCs, said, everyone's going to be wearing these glasses. That's it. But they still may keep a phone in their pocket. But this notion of pulling out a phone every 5 minutes to check a message or watch a movie, that'll go away. And we couldn't get much traction because it was, again, us looking 5 to 10 years out. And so we were on our own. We brought in money from strategic investors, and I raised the money component because I realized some of your viewers will be interested in Innovega as potentially an investment. So we brought strategics in that said, gee, if you pull this off, like everyone else is talking a VR headset, you're talking about a pair of Oakleys with this amazing capability. If you pull it off, it's going to have impact on gaming or enterprise or defense. So we brought like $5-6 million of investment into the company from strategics who all wanted a seat at the table. And we buried our head. We built prototypes. We sort of impressed a lot of folks. But about 3 years ago, we said, we're ready. The industry, the smart glasses industry is not quite ready, but we're ready. But there's not the full ecosystem available, like special operating systems and stuff. So let's try to pick an application that's relatively straightforward. And because as a team, we're talking about glasses, we're talking about vision. We've got optometrists and ophthalmologists and vision scientists. And we've got to know them, and we've got to know, their patients at some level. We said, well, why don't we do something that's simple? And the simplest thing we could think of is a pair of glasses that enabled a person who is struggling to see, struggling to hear, struggling to think, struggling to remember something. And this would be like a patient eyewear platform, but it would be like really cool and lightweight. These aren't going to be goggles and ugly and stigmatized. Patients have their own challenges. Yep. So we picked patients and we narrowed it further and picked vision impairment because, again, vision is 80% of your experience. It doesn't take much loss of vision for your life quality to go downhill fast. And so we started building eyewear, tailoring all our tech for patient testing, and just had remarkable results. So we took patients who were visually impaired, legally blind, and we restored them on average to 20/20 capability, 20/20 acuity for reading, watching TV, recognizing, the kids across the room, one from another, etc. So that's a long answer to us having this abiding belief that glasses were inevitable, that we'd like to do something in an area we could control and we understood, which was this, again, the whole vision system, and that would have enormous social impact. And our whole company did a soft pivot from like deep tech, really clever, really innovative individuals to say, hey, there's 300 million folks who are vision impaired now. There's 500 million within about 20 years. Myopia is a pandemic almost, and it's completely unserved. And so we started testing patients. They were coming to our offices with a white cane or a guide dog or a magnifying glass. We said, this is medieval. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put all of our effort to bringing best of breed tech in normal glasses for individuals who've lost quality of life, lost independence, and we're going to have maximum impact, maximum social impact. And everyone in the company kind of turned on that vision, pardon the pun, that if we're going to do something hard, let's do something that has that level of it. We could go do gaming, we could go do more defense work, but let's do something where the impact is tremendous. And we've tested about 15 patients. We've got patients across all diseases from AMD, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, etc. So we now have a database of what we can, basically patients we can help instantly. and also a product that's now into a full commercialization phase. And I could talk more about tech and more about products and such, but
yeah,
I'll let you ask questions.
Well, yeah, because I want to get into all that with Innovega for sure.
Yeah.
We want to get deeper into it, but real quick, do you mind? So you said 7 or 8 companies prior to, and this is essentially kind of a venture capital type deal, right?
Right.
And so, can you just give us a little summary on what your experience is, and what were those other companies that you've been involved with, exited, things like that?
Venture capital is very usually quite focused, because those running the venture capital company have already made their money in I don't know, SaaS or something like that. So when you go into a VC, you typically pick the one that has domain knowledge, so that when you feed them your innovation or planned innovation, they get it, and they're able to sign off as a partner in the firm. This is something I understand. I know where they're heading. They have the capability, the right team, etc. Ours is not a good VC play. I went to friendly VCs in the early days, and I described what we have. And what we haven't described is how our system works. But the VC that I spoke with said, I just counted 7 different technical domains. And then on top of that, you got clinical domains, and you got potential regulatory. So I don't want to talk to you anymore, because we don't have 7 partners with domain knowledge in all of those areas. So I'm never going to get 7 signatures. So that happens when you take, that's why we call it deep tech. It's like physics, and it's chemistry, and it's math, and it's regulatory, and it's so-and-so. So you have to get individuals on your team that don't say, I'm an electronics engineer. They just say, I'm just a technical guy, and I'll solve the problem. So on that basis, it was easier for us to go to strategics and say, don't worry about how we do it. Yeah, there's 7 different core disciplines. Just think about what this does for gaming or defense or so-and-so. So they came in at about $1 million a piece, easy. We then went to high net worth individuals who had seen success in their lives, like financial success, and they'd seen the paths that often take, which a lot of times you're looking at 5-year horizon, looking something out in the future. So when we describe to them, I know there's not smart glasses now, it's not prevalent. And I know that, there's not applications that are meaningful, but join us anyway. And we raised another $5-6 million from high net worth, small family offices, et cetera. And then the last piece to that, because you asked about VC, is public venture capital. We said, well, we just brought in, call it a friends and family office round. And they had $1 million to throw at it and say, that's fine. If you lose it, you lose it. But what about those who had $1,000, $10,000? Mm-hmm. It's like they're left behind. And I had a ton of people saying, Steve, this sounds really exciting. Can I participate? And I said, no, you're not accredited. You're not this, you're not that. So we decided to do crowdfunding. Mm-hmm. So we raised about $6 million on crowdfunding, about 3,000 shareholders. And now, one, I wanted the entire public across the world to participate. And 2, I wanted them to help tell our story, because our story was still out there. And so now we got 3,000 ambassadors. They love what we're doing. They want to see us successful. And they're willing to tell their friends about this new paradigm, which of course today, as we sit here, smart glasses are no longer a new paradigm. It sort of happened last year when Meta jumped on board and such, the Ray-Bans and such. So that's where we've been in that respect. Now, in terms of my history, I've been in VC-led companies that were finite. We were in the early days of cellular. We're writing the early patents in cellular. The VC that was involved was really strong with software and systems and networks. So, they participated. I became the second employee, became the general manager. Company was sold to Motorola. Nice. So that was a pure VC play. Couple of $100 million. And that was a pure VC play. And then I was involved in the early days of telematics. Sorry, it's my dog.
That's okay. You got dogs, I got kids, so we're good.
We gotta close the door.
You're fine.
Yeah, I was involved in the early days of what's called IoT today, telematics, we used to call it. And again, it was looking out, thinking, FedEx trucks, rather than coming in and, telling you to go to a depot and drop off a package, why wouldn't they come to your door and pick it up and come to your door and drop it off? And that was like a completely new paradigm at the time. There was still people on voice channels. So that got me into public markets. And we sort of raised money and maybe, I don't know, $5-10 million privately. And then we said, and I was in Canada. And we said, well, there's this stock exchange. You don't know much about it, but back to this notion of public. Let's be willing to bring in as many folks as we can and bring them along. So we listed that company in Canada, and ultimately I became CEO of that company, but played different roles. And then started another company a little later, and we did all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think we wrote 300 patents. So just incredible depth, bringing individuals together. Every minute of the day, they're innovating. It's like, gee, what if you did it this way? And I'd say, well, write a patent, because that's radical. And so that company we listed NASDAQ, and then we spun off a company, we listed that NASDAQ. So we have, a public company experience, I have VC experience, and I have strategic, partnering, international partnering experience. And I'm bringing that to Innovega. So Innovega,
that's amazing.
We're well positioned. We're well positioned to scale and be a very successful company. But it's very interesting. I think you may have mentioned it. Are we deep tech, or are we smart glasses? Or are we med tech? Or are we medical devices? Our heart is a medical device company. We're bringing best of best tech, as in med tech, and we've chosen glasses as just an incredibly powerful platform, a natural conduit for AI. So people don't understand this well enough, that AI is enormously powerful, but you want a very efficient way of enabling the human to deal with it, respond to it, etc. And again, the notion of it being on the phone is fun. But if you were to have a pair of glasses that watched you and watched your environment, knew you confidentially, etc., that's when AI becomes extremely powerful. So AI and smart glasses are kind of natural bedfellows, as they say. So another long answer to your short question.
It's great. No, this is good. People want to hear you talk, so it's wonderful. And it seems like, based on all your experience, you figured out the algorithm. It's like, all right, I'm used to investing in companies that have 2 to 4 patents, not 80 patents. So you understand that moat that's protecting you, and you figured out the algorithm to have a successful company to be able to sell, go public, whatever you need to do with it to make you money and investors money and make an impact. So let me just speak to the physician side of things, because you talked about, you could go Department of Defense, you could go gaming, you could do all these things, but you guys like that component of helping clinicians help their patients. You can see the impact that you'll really make on people's lives, which is amazing. And I know, as an orthopedic surgeon, what ophthalmologists probably go through, or optometrists, there's a certain level of patients that you just can't do anything about, right? At some point, you're like, we're treating it, but we're not really helping the issue. Whereas you can come in with this device, and now we have an answer for you. That's impactful. That's huge for physicians, and it's also big for the patient, of course.
Yeah, there's a terminology. I think it's a double bottom line, in that our shareholders, our investors becoming shareholders, they're looking for that return on investment. But when they realize that we're delivering this benefit, this gift to humanity, to literally instantly change lives, it's just all the more interesting to them. And so back to the patients that we're meeting, a lot of them have lost their connection to the optometrist and the ophthalmologist, because they've been told there's really nothing we can do. You have AMD, and it won't get better, it'll get worse. 200 million people have AMD. And they come to us and they tell us that, and we say, well, here's the glasses, but think of it as an aid. We're not going to help you with your AMD. You're losing your sight. On the other hand, we will enable you to restore your vision. You can watch TV again, do all these things, but you're still losing your sight. So we encourage them to reconnect with their optometrist, with their clinical provider, and tell them about what they have with Innovega, but be closer than ever, because we're reading of stem cell technologies and such developments. So we're actually playing another role, and I'm not sure whether we're doing it right, but we are literally encouraging them to benefit from what we have, but don't give up on the other avenues. In fact, if we can tighten our relationship with the clinicians of the world, there'd be nothing more valuable than that. We're also on a path now. So we have demonstration units. We test at our facility in San Diego. We've got a team of 5 in Asia, been working on the design that can be scaled. And we're just signing up now a very large contract manufacturer. So the whole end-to-end supply chain in Asia is set. This is a supply chain that is manufacturing iPads and phones and such. So this is like consumer-grade design, consumer-grade glasses, because the last thing we want to do is to give the patient, again, something else to be concerned about, be embarrassed about. But we're on a path now where we are making design decisions every day, and we need as much input as possible. And we're relying on the patients to provide that input. What I don't think we're doing enough yet is to have input from clinicians, from optometrists and ophthalmologists or other MDs that just know of patients and know how they operate and how they work. So it's something on our list. I'll call it again, to tighten our relationship with the clinical community. We have key opinion leaders. We've got, again, optometrists, ophthalmologists, and others who want to see us successful, and they support us as advisors. But a next step is, and it's probably the community that you're part of and you're working with, that we want to get closer to, because it'll dictate the specific design on the product that we take to market at the end of this year.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what we're trying to do is get more physicians to think bigger, and not just think about like, oh, I'm just putting my money in the stock market. It's like, let's put money into companies that are making a global impact,
right?
Especially on the patients that we treat every day, so right. That's a win-win. If I can invest, and if I'm a ophthalmologist, I can invest and make an impact to my patient. Like that's a total win-win for everybody involved. And, just seeing your website, seeing some of the videos, it is amazing to see the patient testimonial. You had a USA athlete, sprinter that was legally blind, a mom who hasn't seen her child necessarily until she put the glasses on. I can tell you personally, my family member of mine, she had her 3rd kid, and her retina, I don't even know what the disease is called, but it's affecting her vision, and they think it's going to continue to get worse. Yeah. She's young, right? So having an option like this in the future potentially would be a massive game changer for her.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that over and over. And as physicians, again, there's nothing worse than being hand-tied and saying, hey, sorry, I got nothing more for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, many of the folks who are coming in to test our glasses are 60 years of age plus. Many of these are age-related diseases. And the reason the number of folks with low vision is accelerating is because we're living longer. So naturally, there are more of us with the disease. But what's cool, like we had, I think, an 8-year-old in our lab a few weeks ago. When you figure that he's probably got 90 years ahead of him, and already he's struggling at school, he's struggling socially with others, friends and such. To have impact on an 8-year-old is a whole order of magnitude inspiration to all of us. So, and you talk about the younger folks, like the young lady with the baby. She, I won't share that she's got Stargardt's disease, but I think it's in our public material, and she allows us to share that. But there's 400,000 people with Stargardt's disease, and it comes on between the age of 10 or 20. So you've got those individuals who they get to be 20, they're legally blind, they have a baby, and they can't see the baby. I don't know, as she says, I don't know whether the baby's frowning or smiling or about to fall off the edge of a step. I can't even be a good mother. And then she goes from putting the glasses on, oh, there you are, and there's my husband. Yeah. It's like, it's as she said, there's no words for the impact that it will have on her life. Which is fantastic. So, and the other part is, and again, it's another level of detail. A lot of the patents cover a contact lens. So we have think of it as a pair of glasses, display glasses. They're completely transparent. In fact, I have them in my hand here. So they're completely transparent. And so a person who's been looking at the world, albeit a blur, they are used to that. So the glasses themselves that they wear are, they have a transparent element, which, by the way, is a prescription. So you can snap in a prescription. So it becomes customized, personalized at that level. But there's a display sitting on both eyes in front of that transparent element. And as they need it, they would just either ask for, task-specific enhancement, or maybe tap on the side of the glasses. So that's fundamentally how they work. So if they're wearing the glasses and they're in a restaurant and they want to read the menu, they might just tap this, and there it is, a 10 times magnification or a brighter view or higher contrast or shifting the color, whatever they need. So you've got an optical prescription. We're all familiar with a pair of glasses. We've got a digital prescription with cameras and displays and algorithms. Oh, by the way, they're connected. So now you've got a cloud, intelligent agents, and AI. So now you have an intelligent prescription. You put those together in this simple carrier called digital glasses with all our tech, and one would be amazed at what one can deliver. And again, the idea of delivering to my calculation is about 1 billion people in about 30 years, 20 to 30 years, will have impairment. And it'll either be visual, hearing, memory, but 1 billion. And what we have for them today is so limited. So
I love that. And so real quick, just on logistics of it, do you charge the glasses every night? Is it something that you have to charge, or how does that work for the patient?
Yes, they would be charged. The way we've got it set up initially, since most people have a phone, we'll attach the glasses just like you have earbuds, and they'll attach to a phone. We'll have glasses with a kind of a cord coming off one side, just go down your clothing into a phone, and you'll use the battery on the phone. Now, depending on how much phone use during the day, depending on how many of these task-specific activities during the day, if we call it all-day usable, but you may have to have an additional battery pack, which of course you can get for the phone. So we're thinking through that. During the day, you'll have the support of a battery pack, and it'll be lightweight, it'll be cool. I mean, this is consumer-grade technology that we're delivering. But at night, you either pop them in a case, and then you charge the case, or you just, a standard charger connector. Yeah, so you're right. They basically are chargeable each night.
Mm-hmm. And then you made this comment essentially talking about demographics, and it's anybody for visually impaired person. But, in real estate investing, we talk about the silver tsunami with, residential assisted living. In orthopedics, we talk about the silver tsunami when it comes to more joint replacement than ever. People are living longer. So that's a huge demographic for you guys, people having macular degeneration that need this more and more. That's already like a massive point to get sales.
Yeah, there's no shortage of sales. We actually, about a week ago, we announced that we would pre-sell our glasses with the caveat that we're on a path to building prototypes, and we'll be showing them, we'll be refining them. So we're a year away. And we thought, well, there are those who are saying, how do I get these? How do I be first to get them? I don't want to hear that they're out of stock and I got to wait another 6 months. This is my life. Like every day that I don't see my kid or don't watch TV with my family, that's my life. So we said, okay, well then we'll pre-sell these glasses. We'll charge, $2,900, which is the low end of what people are doing today, selling goggles and VR headsets and everything for this community. And we'll see if there are any takers. So last week we sold 40. So individuals who couldn't see them, couldn't try them, but wanted serial number 1, serial number 2, we sold 40. So to pre-sell something a year before it's available just tells us the level of need and what patients are willing to do to get in line. And that just gives us enthusiasm for, hey, we better get going on this. There's going to be a lot of patients we're going to help. If we can pick up 40 without advertising, we can probably pick up 100. If we can pick up 100, we can probably get 1,000.
Yep.
But it is a remarkable product, and the results are astounding. It's like, it's instant. Now, I talked about the glasses, but there's a contact lens element which sort of adds octane to the glasses. So let's say you've got an individual who's got very, very low vision. The standard glasses with standard features and magnification, et cetera, may not provide them with sufficient performance. And so what we do is we add a contact lens into the system, and you wear a contact lens, and then you wear the glasses. Contact lens has your normal prescription, 65% of us need a prescription, but it has a second prescription that enables you to see what's happening half an inch from your eye, which is in the glasses. So at some level, that sounds complicated as well. Vision impaired, how many will be able to wear a contact lens? And what we've learned about vision impaired is they're very determined. When that much has been taken away from you, there are techniques for you to, including wearing the contact lens. The bigger picture on the company is I've only described a sliver of who we are, what we do. When you've got that many patents and that depth of technology, this is like an app. This is running an app on your phone called low vision. But there's another app on the phone, which could be hearing, it could be memory. But there's another app that says, I'm a spectator at a baseball game. And if I don't wear these glasses, I've almost got low vision because those players are 100 feet away. I want to be 5 feet away from the batter. I want to be 5 feet away from the pitcher. So the same glasses that offer such value to hundreds of millions of vision impaired offer equal value, different value, running different apps to those with normal vision. And so I have great confidence in that the company can be extremely valuable, but there's nothing more we want to do than to satisfy the vision impaired first. And that's going to keep us busy for a couple of years. But my sense is that we will have a very substantial impact on that community.
Yeah. And it sounds like you can scale in multiple ways, which makes it even better. So, on that note, it's kind of funny. You said that. It's like, I go to a, Indianapolis Colts game and I'm sitting way up high. I can bring my glasses and now I'm like in the action.
Yep. Yeah. And you'd have ESPN feeds. You'd be still with your pals because you've got nice clear lenses. So it'd be very powerful, very different than what we have today. And in fact, we could start with low vision. We could say, hey, one of the things you can do as a low vision patient, you can start going back to those football games, baseball games, et cetera. And then from there, it's like, well, this is going to be fine for anyone. So
that's great.
There's a lot of places that we can take it.
Yeah, a lot of utility. Yep. So with that being said, are you guys still raising money? And if anybody listening to this wants to invest, how does that work? What does that look like?
Yeah, we're actually raising money and we're doing a bit more crowdfunding, and it's through startengine.com. We've raised a couple of $1 million over the past months, and with a view of raising up to $5 million. But it's an odd sort of thing. Remember I mentioned we raised about $6 million going back so many years. It was COVID days, and a lot of folks didn't get in for one reason or another. This was not the time when they were going to be investing in anything. It was a very scary time.
Yep.
And so when we reopened this up, because again, always wanting to build our ambassadors, we priced it at $3 a share, which is where we priced it 4 years ago. So it's intentionally a small round, a quick round. We're going to be closing it up in 2 months, and at $3 a share. My view, of course, is that it's very attractive. 4 years ago, we had 40 patents filed. Now we've got 80 patents filed. 4 years ago, we weren't talking about vision impaired. We hadn't tested patients. We hadn't published peer-reviewed papers, et cetera. Now we do. So I think it's a very interesting time for someone to take a look at us. Your viewers can invest $500. They can invest $500,000. And that's the range of what we've seen in these crowd funds for us directly. Beyond that, there may be other opportunities for investment. A company like ourselves just needs to be bringing more fuel to the fire. We hired a fellow who's now our CTO. He came from Apple, chief architect of the Apple Vision Pro product, the large product. And he came to us because he said, okay, I get it. This whole display eyewear is a huge thing, but it's not a VR headset. It's not an Apple Vision Pro. It's a pair of glasses. Steve, you're dead right. That people will wear those. They'll be cool. They'll be stylish. They'll be, wear them. And so he said, I want to join you. I want to be your chief technology officer. But he's coming from Apple, a decade at Apple. He knows how to develop, consumer grade products that are exceptional in terms of the interface, the look and feel. We got to give him the tools. At the bottom line, he's ready to go. It's like a racehorse, and every day he's bugging me. It's like, Steve, don't you get it? We got to do this and this and this.
Yeah.
So you will see us as a company continue to raise money, but obviously as our board decides that we're worth more, it's going to be shifting the valuation. So if there are folks interested on your side, take a look now. If it's the right time, please join us, and particularly clinicians, particularly doctors in your viewership, because we get to know folks who invest with us, and they add value, and I think we add value and enrich their lives too.
Yeah, I love that. And so what you're saying is the valuation now that you'd be investing in is similar to what it was 4 years ago, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, which is huge. And to your point, you've already made leaps and bounds headway compared to then. So it becomes more and more.
It's an odd situation. It's all been done for the right reasons. but I wouldn't wait. If I was an investor, I wouldn't wait 4 months and believe that we're going to do this again. We really have too much traction.
That's great.
Yep.
Couple of things on that too. I spoke last week at the Family Office Club in Dallas, and I spoke about capital raising with physicians and dentists, how to capital raise from physicians, I should say. But do you have any pearls on capital raising? Because you've obviously done a good job over the years. Any, just in general, not even to physicians, just in general, any pearls on capital raising?
I'd say it's always hard. You should be raising money all the time. I was also at an event last week, and it was with accomplished investors, and they said at this point they're looking at companies and they're telling them, if you want our money, you've got to be a media company. So it's something that we've learned, that we have to do many things well. We have to be very strong in tech. We have to translate that to meaningful products quickly, efficiently. We have to handle the distribution with great care and systematically. And we have to be a media company, and then we have to let others know what we're doing. I think if you put those 4 things together, you can be quite powerful. And so if I were an investor, doctor, dentist, et cetera, I would be looking for a company that has all 4 elements, because almost any one of them that's missing means that company won't be successful.
Yeah.
So
that's good. It's good advice. Yep. A couple more points, and then we'll get to the final quick questions. But
sure.
You've obviously been successful. You continue to, create companies, and just when it's all said and done, what would you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, we all want to leave something behind. And I would say that if you'd asked me multiple years ago, I just wanted to do exciting things and create. Just the whole notion of create, whether it's markets, opportunities for others. So I'm a creative soul, I suppose. The shift for me has been not just creating for the sake of creating, inventing for the sake of inventing, but it's actually individual lives at scale to enable them to do the things that I've been able to do. If I want to zip to the coffee shop, see a friend, I jump in the car and do it. The vision-impaired tell me, Steve, you don't understand how our lives are different than yours. We wait for someone to come over and take us to the coffee shop. Right. We don't just go to Walmart to pick up something like the rest of the world. So when you hear stories like that, or someone that says, I got a baby, but I can't see them, or I got a family and we get together in the evenings and they watch TV and I listen to TV. It's like every time they tell me something like that, it's like, look at, I can solve all this. So I think the legacy needs to be, I did everything I could for everyone that I could reach, to leave the world a better place. And I know that sounds very corny, but I'd say not only myself, but all of our team is believing that now. Hey, if we could do anything, we work with a special ops group. They could kill people at 1 mile, and they were wondering, could we help them kill people at 2 miles? We actually could. But if you're going to do something, what are you going to do first? And I've got all the time in the world for veterans and defense, for what they do. And I'm going to circle back and I'm going to help them. But you actually deal with the fact that we've got so many folks that deserve so much more, has got my full attention. So if I died tomorrow, I'd be upset because I will not have done everything that I intended with Innovega. But I think in 5 years from now, 2 years from now, we'll be very significantly on the map, and we'll be at scale. Again, the scale piece is important, but we will be enhancing lives at scale. The beauty of the platform that I described, there's no FDA approval. We know a lot about regulatory approvals. We've gone down phase 1 and phase 2, et cetera, with the contact lens. But we've pieced off these glasses that are purpose built for the low vision community. And we can launch this product in Turkey or Malaysia. And that enables us to work at scale. So that's a very exciting aspect of our company, in that we can do so much good so quickly. And capital is going to be an important element of it.
Yep. You're doing big things, and you're an innovator, which is the coolest part. But it reminds me of, the big things that, Thomas Edison did, and guys that created things that pushed our technology and pushed everything forward, Elon Musk and things like that, Steve Jobs. what you're doing is very much in line with all that, so it's very impressive to be an entrepreneur, innovator like you are. And yeah, we're glad to have you on to show that to our doctor community so we can help you, provide capital and help you do what you need to do.
Yeah, I'd like to support that any way I can. We've got, like I said, we've got ophthalmologists involved, we've got optometrists involved, we've got dentists. So there is a cadre that have recognized what we're good at. They love their patients. I mean, they're in the profession because they want to do the same thing we want to do with their patients and for their patients. So to have more participating and offer us insights and input is very valuable. If there was a conduit, if through your group, your community, that offers a conduit for me with full transparency to describe what we're doing, and offers them an opportunity to participate when they wish, as early as they wish, that'd be such a win-win. And we mentioned Elon Musk. I got to believe 5 years ago when he said we're going to Mars, everybody said, well, he's crazy because here's the 10 reasons why that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's like us 5 years ago, saying we're going to have these glasses that are going to just deliver whatever you need. And then 3 years ago saying, oh, by the way, that does include having a person who's lost their sight read again. And so, yeah, we're not Elon Musk, we're not Edison. But on the other hand, we have a philosophy that just because it's really difficult, it doesn't mean it's impossible. Mm-hmm. Let's put our mind to it. And we've had a lot of success. We've had a lot of success solving problems that the large companies, the Metas, Meta's spent $80 billion so far through I think it's called Reality Labs, but basically $80 billion on their Oculus and then their Ray-Ban product line. That's a lot of money. And it's been incredibly incremental. And at the end of it, where are those glasses that we all want to wear that do everything? Right. They're not there.
Right.
And their work with Oculus started more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So it's nimble companies like Innovega that it's crazy enough to believe that things are possible. And we can compete all day long with the Microsofts and the Metas and the Googles because they have to proceed in such an incremental lockstep fashion that they miss the opportunity to innovate.
That's great. I love that. And it sounds like you're going to the Beverly Hills event, the Family Office Club event in March. Yeah. And so the point of what we're trying to do is get more docs to come to those events as well. And really, when they're part of the Doctors Investor Club, they can go to those events for free, which is awesome. And there's a ton of physicians, obviously, in that area, right? So it's a no-brainer to get over there and see what's going on, rub elbows with guys like yourself to have these conversations in person.
Well, we've joined the Family Office Club, as it sounds like you have. And for us, it was our first event a few months ago. But those that I've met in that community just impressed me to no end because they are looking for that double bottom line. Yeah, of course, we have capital to deploy. On the other hand, we can afford to be selective here. We don't have to make a decision tomorrow. And I was at a boot camp last week. Again, we're just getting our feet wet. We're trying to understand this community of family offices. I had 5 people come to me within the audience, shook my hand and said, Steve, I'm so pleased you're doing what you're doing. I got a grandmother that's got this. I've got a young son that's starting to have that. Please continue to do what you're doing. Don't get distracted. Don't listen to others say you should be doing gaming or something. Please, keep your focus. That's pretty remarkable. So yeah, we will be in Beverly Hills. Is just something we want to do. We want to understand the family office community. And if you've got folks, a handful of folks, 5 folks who want to sit and take your time with me, I'd actually love that. So maybe think
that'd
about
be wonderful.
Setting a group discussion.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that.
Good.
Last 4 quick questions.
Yeah,
we like to end our podcast on.
Okay.
What book are you reading right now, or what book has influenced you the most in your thinking?
It's probably not so much a book because I'm not getting a lot of time to read books or sleep or anything else. But I do pay a lot of attention to Elon Musk. I like the fact that, he's obviously got an amazing work ethic, but the fact that he's able to just look at something that's not there today and believe that it's possible and then drive to that end. He just makes the decision, he goes. And I think it's helping me at some level because everyone has their challenges in the course of the day. I don't easily these days say, that doesn't look like that's a good path. It's now, if you could get there, that'd be an amazing path. Let's just step back a little bit. So Elon Musk is, I don't know him, of course, but his philosophy on innovation is really inspiring me.
That's great. I mean, to that point, Richard Wilson talks about it a lot. He reads all the billionaire books, and he talks about the anti-herd mentality of billionaires, right? Guys that have, there's a ton of naysayers, but they say, no, I know I can do it. I have the vision for it. And they continue on that path and they become unicorns basically. And that's what Elon Musk has done more than anybody. So you bring up a great point there.
Yep. And Richard Wilson, who's the, obviously founder of the Family Office Club, he's inspiring. He's very bright, very capable, and very generous with his time and with his insights. So I'm glad you're working with him. He's an impressive individual.
Yeah, agreed 100%. High integrity guy too.
Very much.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what advice would you give your 25-year-old self if you could go back?
It would be AI. It would be just pay a huge amount of attention to the impact that it's going to have. And for you to look at it today and say, oh, it's something else I got to learn. At 25, I had a few engineering degrees kind of thing, or technical degrees. But it's like time to put your pencil down, as the expression goes, and step back a little bit and just recognize there's a new way of doing most everything. So, and I could go for a 12-year-old at high school kind of thing, middle school or something, that they have to understand the impact that this will have and how to use it's an amazing tool. That's what it is at the end of the day.
Yep.
So that would be my greatest advice, I think.
That's great. You're successful, obviously. How do you define wealth?
How do I define wealth? I mean, it's going to come back to the family and friends and those you can have impact, have positive impact on. With me personally, I mean, you get to a certain amount of money and then it doesn't matter anymore. And I don't know whether that's 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, but Richard Wilson at the Family Office Club, I mean, he's got folks there that have got 100 million and wish they had 1 billion, or they've got 10 million that wish they had 100 million. For me personally, I've got enough. And I get up every day. I probably work 6.5 days a week. I'm 72 years of age. I should have quit when I was 29. I had enough money to quit a long, long time ago. So I'm not working for money. I'm working for the contribution I can make. And that's why this whole notion of working with patients, clinicians and patients is so exciting for me.
Love it. You have a purpose and you're fulfilling that purpose.
100%.
Mm-hmm. All right, last question. Proverbs 11:25 states, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." If you can make one lasting impact through giving, if you can make one lasting impact by giving back, what would it be?
I think to ease the suffering, and I choose that word carefully. I don't think you can ease the pain. There are diseases that we're not going to cure. We're not in the business of curing the disease, obviously, but we're meeting folks with a mindset that I have this disease, it's destroying my life. I don't know what to do next. And that's the suffering piece of it. And that wears on the individual, I'm sure, all the way to their physical health and family members. I mean, the mother that's got a daughter, all of a sudden the daughter's involved, the husband's involved. So to ease the suffering of the world, again, it may sound corny, but whether it's a dog in the street that's suffering, or a young child, or a 90-year-old, if I could throw a switch and say, there it is, you're okay. That would, and it's not even selfish, it would feel so good, but it would, it actually works for me. But it's the gift to them that works for me. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. And you said it sounds corny, but well, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say generous is a good word too.
Yeah,
we need to be generous.
You said it sounds corny, but I would say coming from just any random person saying, "Oh yeah, I want to stop suffering in the world," this, that, and the other. It may sound a little corny or cliche, but coming from you, who's actually doing it, that's a different story, right?
Appreciate that. That.
Thank you. Yeah. We appreciate you coming on, Steve. It's been very enlightening. We love to hear your journey, your perspective on things, and how the work that you're doing with Innovega is fascinating. And I know that our audience is going to love this. So I encourage them to go to Beverly Hills and meet you in person. And for any listeners out there right now, how can they get a hold of you, or how can they invest with you? Where can they find you?
Right. So presently, startengine.com, if you go to startengine.com, which is a portal, crowdfunding portal, They go there, they can just search Innovega and they'll find us and they'll find the terms of the investment. If any of your viewers wants to reach me directly, it's very simple. My email address is steve@innovega.io. So I get a lot of emails and I read every one of them. So I'd be delighted to get an email from your viewership.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes as well.
Please.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. And good to meet you, and good luck with your podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
This is my time. I'm on the rise. Can't hold me down. I'm too fly. This is my time.
Thanks for listening to the Doctors Investor Club podcast. I hope today's conversation inspired you to think bigger, dream bolder, and take the next step toward financial freedom. If you're a doctor or dentist and you're ready to join our community, head over to doctorsinvestorclub.com. There you'll find our free mobile app and private forum, built exclusively for physicians and dentists, featuring AI tools, curated investor resources, and live event access. And if you're at the stage where you want to see real estate opportunities we personally invest in, you can visit investwithdrkyle.com. There's no pressure, just transparency, education, and access when you're ready. Subscribe to the show, share it with a colleague, and remember, you're not just building wealth, you're building a legacy.